Hello, Geminis. This is Adrian Igo, Capricorntigress from Astrology, A Look Inside. Happy October to you and happy Halloween season to all. Wearing my dark hair for Halloween, and I hope all of you have a wonderful Halloween season and a safe one. So I'm going to go over your chart that I've created here based on where the planetary movements are. I'm going to go over what I've created first. Make sure you can see that. And then what I'll do after that is I'll go through the actual astrological events for the month to make sure we haven't missed anything. So when I look over at your chart right now, it looks like the entire emphasis, other than this North Node, everything is like in a sort of like a locomotion action here, and it all really starts with that Libra. There's the Libra emphasis in your solar fifth house, and you've got it starts out the month with Mercury in Libra in your fifth house, and the Sun in Libra in your fifth house. And during the course of the month, even Venus is going to retrograde back from Scorpio into your solar fifth house. And so you're going to have emphasis in area of relationships and love, because Libra naturally rules relationships, and Venus naturally rules love, and the fifth house rules love. I could see possible flirtations. I'm not saying it's anything serious, but definite flirtations. And how far you take those flirtations, I don't know. But definitely I can see them. They definitely exist. If you've been flirting with someone, or you've been thinking, hey, is that guy flirting with me? Yeah. He's flirting with you. Or you're flirting with him. One or the other. But there is definite emphasis in the fifth house of romance. Now that house also rules taking chances, and it can rule things like your children, and also entrepreneurship is indicated in the fifth house as well. But usually it's romance. Usually it's love and the start of new romantic alliances. Now these are usually not serious. You know what I mean? They're alliances. They're people that you hook up with. You got the hookup. And this is really indicated, again, on the other side of your chart, because you've got Uranus in the 11th house. I mean, it's in early degrees of Taurus, in the solar 11th house at 1 degree. But again, that's sudden activity, or something sudden with a friend, or friendships, or associations or groups. It's something unexpected, and that could really kind of put some emphasis back on the fifth house as well, because these are going to be happening at the early degrees. A lot of things are going to be happening at the early degrees, and they're going to be affected. So I'm wondering how much that Libra Venus, or that Sun in Libra, are going to be feeling any of that. I don't know what I was just thinking there. I think I'm thinking about this North Node. This North Node is down in your communications, your solar third house of communications, and it's Leo, and it's been there for a while now, because it's retrograding, and it's retrograding out of the solar third, because it's getting to 0 degrees of Leo, which means it's going toward your solar second house, because it's going to go into Cancer. And once it gets into Cancer, that's your solar second house, and so you'll be feeling that. But right now it's affecting your communication in the house of Leo. But since it's in the early degrees, it's squaring that crazy Uranus, which is up in the 11th house. So I'm just wondering how that's going to affect you with your friendships and organizations and your friends. And maybe it's because the third house is your neighbors, your neighborhood. It could be brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles, extended family. It's the people you know, and doing things locally. So I could see you doing things with friends, but something weird or unexpected could happen. So please be aware of that. And I don't even know what that unexpected thing is. I'm hoping that's not going to involve any of the hookup of the fifth house we just talked about in Libra. So that is the early emphasis. But on the 23rd, most of the emphasis is going to go from Libra into the sign of Scorpio. And the Scorpio is your solar sixth house. And that is your health. And that is also things like your work and, service that you give, like just helping other people, that desire to be helpful. And with that being in Scorpio there, I could see you doing something to be helpful, because Venus is going to be going from Scorpio into Libra, but it starts out basically in your sixth house, and the sun is going to go from Libra to your sixth house, going into Scorpio, and you have Jupiter in Scorpio all month long. I mean, it's at 22 through 28 degrees. It's in those last few degrees of Scorpio, but it's very positive for your work and really for your health in general right now. And so I would, I'm thinking this should be very positive for your work. And the funny thing is, I've been really concerned about your career, because you have Neptune retrograde in Pisces in your 10th house of career. And, that wouldn't be so bad normally, but it is square Gemini. And because Pisces squares Gemini, and it's from your 10th house, or, your image or reputation. And also, Chiron is going retrograding back, into Pisces. And it's going to be at 29 to 28 degrees of Pisces. This is all in your solar 10th house, which is your career. So there's a lot of emphasis on your 6th house and a lot of emphasis on your career in the month of October. Now, one of the other things that is emphasized is your 8th house and 9th house. And the 8th house is because the sign of Capricorn is there, and Capricorn has a lot of emphasis going on right now with Saturn in Capricorn for the first time in 28 years, and also Pluto has been in Capricorn at 18 degrees right now. But this Capricorn is your solar 8th house, so you're going to have a lot of emphasis on maybe like your partner's money, or just deep issues that, deep hidden issues that normally you keep private, but with Pluto there, it's just a lot of digging and talking and maybe working through painful things that have been buried or deep within. You do have Lilith and Mars in the solar 9th house. And so that is an emphasis on your travel and on, I'm right away, I start thinking about political stuff. I do not know why these images come to me, because it's an Aquarius, right? And Aquarius is always dealing with causes of some kind. And you've got, naturally Sagittarius on the 7th house. I'm just hoping you, with Mars there and the 9th house of dogma and philosophy and religion and stuff like that, I'm just hoping that don't take this, don't get into arguments with people, like use your dogma to cause arguments. And I just thought about with that Uranus in the 11th house, and it's going to probably be, well, I don't know if it's going to make any aspects because it's a little wide. It's like 4 or 5 degrees. So, but I could see people just doing that weird argument thing on Facebook and Twitter and stuff, which is very prevalent right now. you know, everyone getting into all that political stuff because, you know, it's voting season, and until November, people are a little bit weird when it comes to things like, you know, politics. I just would say stay out of that with Mars and Aquarius in the ninth house right now. And you know, I could see it getting like, you got Uranus in 11th house. You might get into a crazy, stupid argument with a friend online or something like that. That's just silly. And with Chiron sitting up in the, you know, solar 10th house of reputation and stuff like that, and Neptune, it can really wreak a little bit of havoc with your reputation. So you want to just, you know, be chill when it comes to politics in the month of October. You might still think it, but I don't know if you want to say it. Because Geminis, you know, you guys are pretty verbal. So let's go through now, and, you know, I've kind of gone over where that emphasis is basically in your chart, but I really want to go through where these planets are and the emphasis and the things that it's doing, so we can see how that might affect you, Gemini. So in the beginning of the month, you know, it starts out with the moon in Gemini. You know, that's your first house, basically, the very early part of the month. And that sun is going to square the moon. So Libra, in somehow, once it goes from Gemini into Cancer, you know, the sun in Libra is going to square the moon. And it's a little bit of minor stress down in your second house, because Cancer is your solar second house. So you might feel a little bit of stress with your money. I don't know what's going on there, but something could affect that. Just be careful, because, you know, you got the sun emphasis in Libra is down in your solar fifth house. So I could see you, you know, taking a gamble on this or taking a chance on that, getting all emotional about it. And with the sun square to moon, that might not work out. So it could be stressful. Be cautious. On the third, Mercury squares Pluto. And that Mercury, well, of course, Pluto is in Capricorn, and we talked about that Pluto being in your 8th house and being a little obsessive. But, you know, Mercury is going to be in Libra down in the 5th house. And again, this could be a little bit of obsession in a relationship. This could be a little bit of obsession in a love, you know, relationship. I don't know why I thought about this, but I was just thinking somebody's a side piece and they got upset because they wanted to get serious, you know, that 8th house. My mind starts coming up with scenarios. I don't know why I do this. Just be cautious of that, because that you're going to have strong opinions. You're going to feel a little bit obsessive. And then on the 5th of October, Venus goes retrograde. So you really want to be cautious about the relationships all month anyway, but especially around the 3rd, the 5th, around then. And Venus is going to retrograde at 10 degrees and 50 seconds of Scorpio. And when it does that on the 5th of October, it's going to be going from basically your 6th house. Well, it's going to start retrograding back from your 6th house, going toward your 5th house again. So, you know, we're going to be looking at some emphasis on that 5th house all month. But it's not a good time to start relationships or get married or anything like that. If you're already in a relationship, you might find that old issues that you thought were already settled come up again. And, you know, you might have to talk things out, because there's going to be a lot of talking around the relationship this month. October 7th, the sun is in conjunct the true node, the north node. And that is Saturn at 3 degrees and 20 seconds of Capricorn, and Leo at 3 degrees and 20 seconds of Leo. It's retrograding. And so that Saturn is going to be making that in conjunct to that north node. And that is the 8th house and the 3rd house. Again, more communicating in the local area or with extended family, or I just something locally. And then, you know, with Saturn being up in the 8th house like that, so that's deeper stuff. So I can see where you could be just dealing with some power struggles, or just some deep conversations, maybe. Yeah, just something like that. So yeah. So that new moon on Libra, I'm not even sure where I'm at right now. The new moon on Libra, I think we talked about that. That's going to be on the 8th of October. And that is a time to work on your relationships and find a center, your life balance, relationship balance, your work-life relationship balance, all of that, just find balance and everything. Again, that's that emphasis on that fifth house of romance and love and taking chances and children and fun and parties and having a good time. The new moon is going to be there. And so that is 2 weeks for you to work on these issues that pertain to that area. On the 9th, Mercury enters Scorpio, and that is going to be a lot of deep conversations about work, probably for you, since that's your 6th house of work. But it could be your health. I mean, I'm hoping that all things with your health are good and that you have an opportunity to work on those issues. And Mercury is going to stay in Scorpio for about 3 weeks. It's real quick because it had retrograded. And then it's going to end up the month in Sagittarius. So, here next we have Mars square Venus on the 10th. Mars square Venus could cause some relationship problems. And that Venus is down there retrograding from that 5th house or 6th house into the 5th house, and that Mars is up in the 9th. So I could see how that square could cause some relationship problems, and it really has to do a lot with maybe even just having a debate or an argument over something really trivial and stupid. Because with emphasis in the 9th house, someone always wants to be right and smarter than the other person. So just be aware of that tendency in the month, because Geminis do like to be right, but usually not as bad as some, On the 12th of October, the Sun in Libra is going to square Pluto in Capricorn. And that is power struggles with authority figures. Pluto in Capricorn is in the 8th house. And that is a very strong place for Pluto anyway, because it's the natural ruler of the 8th house. So Pluto is just in power right now in your chart. It just is. And with it, scoring that Libra sun down in your 5th house, it just could be that your desire to have fun and have a good time is just going to be thwarted in some way by a power authority figure, like, get to work, what are you doing, playing and joking off, something like that. So on the 15th of October, Mercury in Scorpio is conjunct Venus in Scorpio. So you're really going to have a lot of emphasis on that 6th house of work again. And that could affect your health. I say work, but it could also be your health. It could just be like some healing that you're doing, in that way. But usually when we're dealing with that much Scorpio, we're dealing with like digging in and finding solutions and using, like, just investigating to find the answer or solution to something. And in this case, we're talking about Mercury and Venus. So I could see someone playing detective in a relationship or something because it's Venus, right? So it could be that, let's just hope that you don't go off to somebody's job or something, or someone else to show up at your job because of relationship issues, because that would be embarrassing. On October 19th, Mercury is trine Neptune, and it's all square Mars. So Mercury trine Neptune square Mars. This is something, because that Mercury trine Neptune, Neptune's up in Pisces, and Mercury's down there in Scorpio. It's going to be going from Libra to Scorpio, and it's going to end up in Sag. And so that's your 6th house and your 10th house. And yeah, that's your 6th house, your 10th house, that 9th house. So, hopefully you'll be able to get through that. It just indicates that communications, they can be creative, but you could be having some kind of problem in some way. It could be some people find whatever you're saying or your work that you've presented to be confusing. This is also indicated because you've got Neptune sitting up in the 10th house retrograding anyway in your chart right now. So yeah, just be careful. Make sure you double check all your work and, dot all your I's and cross all your T's and all that kind of stuff. On the 23rd, the sun enters Scorpio. And that just, now we're really going to have a lot of emphasis on secrecy and healing and your feelings and closure. And I'm hoping that there's not going to be a problem for someone. I could see someone maybe even losing their job. It's just, one of those issues that could pop up for you during the month. Now, there are some other things that could prevent, loss of work, but I could just, for some reason that popped up in my head. On the 24th, there's a full moon in Taurus, which is, again, opposing that area. So, we've got the we've got these planets, or the full moon is going to be in your 12th house, because I had put it where it was, for some reason I thought it was your 11th house, and it's not. It's technically your 12th house because it's at 1 degree or 0 degrees, so it's technically your 12th house. And Uranus in the 12th house is never anything good, but it can indicate creativity, and I like to think that that's how it's going to all come to effect for you, with the full moon in Taurus at 1 degree sitting on Uranus, right at the precipice of the solar 12th and solar 11th house. That is all going to take the form of like some amazing creativity, and that would be the most positive way for it to take effect. And the full moon in Taurus always, it's going to indicate possible completion and change and transformation in your life. And, it's whatever it does do, since it's going to be in the 12th house, it's going to be deeply internal, like something that you're going through on an internal, private level, not something that's going to be maybe felt or seen by others, but something it might be a day that you want to just go home and cry, to yourself alone, and not particularly at anyone or anything like that. But it could also just mean a Netflix day. On the 26th of October, the sun is in Scorpio, and it's conjunct Venus in Scorpio. So more of that emphasis in Scorpio, and that's again your 6th house. That's your work life, and that's your health also. It indicates intensity, and you could again have some issues dealing with your relationships at your work. I could, maybe you're having some problems with your coworkers. So I hope that that's something that can work out, because Venus is actually it's usually a positive, and with Venus, usually forming an in conjunct with Gemini, I could see where creativity could be a result as well. So, Now, on the 29th of October, the sun in Scorpio trines Cancer. And that Cancer is going to be in your solar 2nd house of money. And, Cancer is also trine Scorpio, so this is all going to be positive. No matter what, it's a very positive experience for Cancer and Scorpio to trine each other like that. The 6th house, the 2nd house of money. If it is your job, if it is work, if it is a time for you to leave that work and find new work, you will. You'll get rid of whatever doesn't serve you anymore. If it's not paying you what you deserve, you might choose that day to say, that's it, I'm done. The 29th of October. As of the end of October, I'm out of this place. And make up your mind, and that's, and stick to it. So be aware of that, because the moon in Cancer is usually emotional, and it will be trine Scorpio, and that is all going to be affecting your money house and your work house. On the 30th, Mercury enters Sagittarius, and that is I would normally say a good thing, but for you, it's your 7th house of partnerships, and it could mean open enemies. So be aware of that. You could have some really good ideas, but it could be thwarted by someone who, who doesn't want to work with you. Now, here's the crazy thing. It does rule the area of partnerships, and this could mean business partnerships. So maybe that could be how it all comes out, when Mercury goes into Sagittarius. You'll have these great ideas in the area of business partnerships, and maybe something big will come from them. On the 31st of October, Venus leaves Scorpio because it's retrograding, and then it goes into Libra. And Libra is its natural home. And so things are going to feel a lot better than they've been feeling for the last couple of weeks. With all that Scorpio, oh my gosh, it's been so much Scorpio. So you'll really welcome that Venus going back into Libra, because of course that's all trine Gemini. It's a positive vibe, and the relationships will start to feel a little bit better, and you'll make up with whoever you might have broke up with, and all kind of stuff like that. Now, Venus is still opposite Uranus, so remember that. And so it can still indicate a rough time for relationships and for love, or just for love in general, because Venus rules love, and Uranus is just sudden craziness, and that's up in that solar 12th house. So let's just hope whoever you're in love with isn't a dog or cheating or any of those things, and I doubt it, but these are always things to be aware of when Uranus is sitting teetering at the brink of the 12th house cusp. Okay, this has been your reading for the month of October 2018. This has been Capricorntigress Adrian Igo with Astrology, a look inside. And please take a moment to stop by Astrology, a look inside, and sign up for our updates and newsletters so you can stay in the know with Capricorntigress. Okay, guys, it's been a pleasure. Happy October to you. Enjoy it. Happy Halloween to all. Much love and light.